Altruism is a fascinating form of pro-social or helping behavior and is one of the most debated. We'll explore some of the theories and research on this fascinating topic. Altruism is a selfless form of helping in which there's no obvious benefit to the helper and often puts them at risk. Altruism makes little sense from an evolutionary perspective. Darwin proposed that natural selection essentially chooses traits and their genes which enable an individual to survive and pass on these genes. Therefore, true selflessness, especially if it comes with risk, as in this helping situation shown here, is difficult to understand. Individuals who help selflessly decrease their own survival chances. But there are lots of examples in humans and other animals, so altruism is a bit of a puzzle from the evolutionary perspective. As you'll learn, there are many different types of altruism. Although they're all examples of selfless helping, they have different underlying motivations. Kin selection is helping our relatives. This type of helping is thought to have an evolutionary mechanism, whereby the motive is to pass on genes, even in extreme cases where the helper themselves might not survive. We certainly see this in humans. Parents will go to extraordinary lengths to help their children. It's also been extensively studied in other species, like bees. Guard bees act like bouncers to regulate who gets into the busy hive, and research shows that being closely related increases the chances of getting in. At first glance, this explanation of kin selection feels wrong, because most people wouldn't explain helping family members as being motivated by genetics. I mean, really, are these parents helping their children because they're thinking about their DNA? Are bees motivated by DNA? If you ask parents, they'd likely say their helping is motivated by love. Are bees motivated by love too? Who knows? The fact that we're able to love enough to sacrifice ourselves for our loved ones fits with the idea of kin selection, so we end up helping our genes, even though our individual reasons have nothing to do with it. Reciprocal altruism, on the other hand, is a different type of helping that looks like true selfless altruism. But basically, it's tit-for-tat helping, whereby we help others so they might help us later. These monkeys will groom each other to remove bugs, and research shows that those who help most are also the greatest recipients of help from others. Reciprocal altruism can be explained in evolutionary terms because this motivation for helping promotes group connectedness and cooperation. Many social species show this type of helping behavior. Now, you might have experienced reciprocal altruism yourself, because advertisers and marketers know that we have a strong obligation to pay help back, even if we don't know people all that well. If you've ever felt pressured into buying something because some nice person has given you a sample, then that's reciprocal altruism at work. This begs the question then, is there such a thing as true altruism? Social exchange theory states that our helping behavior is the product of a cost-benefit analysis. In other words, we only help when the benefits outweigh the costs. In fact, reciprocal altruism can be explained in terms of social exchange without the need for a genetic mechanism at all. There are often clear benefits to helping others, feeling good about yourself, or building up favors that you can call on in the future. Social exchange theory has no problem explaining selfish helping, like when someone makes a charitable donation so that they can claim it on their tax return. What about helping someone where there doesn't seem to be a clear benefit to the helper? One huge factor in this type of helping behavior is empathy, or the ability to share the feelings of others and understand their situations. The empathy altruism hypothesis suggests that we help selflessly only if we can feel empathy for others. So what does this look like in the brain? This study here looked at well-established pain circuits when someone experienced pain themselves or observed a loved one in pain. The design was pretty simple. Female participants had their brain scanned with fMRI under 3 different conditions: a pain-free baseline condition which served as a control, again while they received a 2-second electric shock, or observed their partner get that same shock. The researchers looked at 2 key pain areas in the brain: the anterior cingulate cortex, or ACC for short, which is active during emotional pain, and the somatosensory cortex, which is active during physical pain. The results are expressed as a change from the pain-free baseline, and the time of shock delivery is shown in shaded blue. Clearly, the ACC is active during self-pain and observed pain. This area showed increased activity when experiencing pain oneself or watching a loved one in pain, while the somatosensory cortex only showed heightened activity during self-pain. This suggests that seeing others in pain activates some of the same pain circuits as being in pain yourself. Researchers like Batson suggest two different underlying reasons to explain the empathy-altruism hypothesis. The first is called egoistic motivation, whereby empathy makes us feel distressed and helping someone rewards us by reducing this distress. We know from the study just described that watching another in pain activates emotional pain circuits, which generally doesn't feel so good. The other reason is called empathic motivation, whereby empathy promotes helpful behavior solely to reduce the stress of another. And this is actually rewarding for us. This motivation is true altruism, and many researchers, like Bob Caldini, argue that it doesn't exist because we relieve our own distress or guilt through helping others when we feel their pain. So, is there such a thing as truly selfless behavior? Some researchers argue that most everything comes down to social exchange. This view for helping seems a bit cold and calculating, but it helps explain how our feelings play a big role in helping behavior.